Hey guys, happy Sunday! So I finally got around to making that ink drawing for Safa, and oh my gosh, what a journey! Well, first off, I started this video making a soap doodle on my bathroom mirror of an astronaut, because the whole theme of this is surrounding like my new fountain pen, which is the Moon Man. So I was like, astronauts all the way, like that's what's up. And y'all excuse me in my bathroom, all right? So, like, there's just no way to film drawing with soap in a mirror without getting you in the shot. So, anyways, we'll just ignore that whole part of it. Okay, let's talk about the doodle. First things first, the first one I made, I messed up on completely, so I had to start over from scratch, and I didn't film it, but I'll talk about it, all right? I definitely used too dark of a graphite pencil when I made my original sketch. I put way too much detail on it also, because after I sketched it, I went in with watercolor, and it was not, it was mixing in with the graphite a whole bunch. So all the yellow on the paper was turning gray, all the orange was turning gray, and it was really frustrating. So I said, oh, forget this. Crumbled it up, threw it away, started over. So this is part 2. This is the start over. I used a HB pencil, very, very lightly sketched, kind of an idea of where to put stuff. And I went in with my Moon Man fountain pen and my Noodler's purple Martin ink, and went in with the details from there. Okay, so now the kind of paper I'm using some watercolor paper. It's really thick, it's really soft, and it's absorbent. So after I painted the watercolor background, I went to my bathroom and I blow dried it with my hair dryer to get it real dry real fast. I also had it on a clipboard so that it would keep the paper still for me, when I went in with the ink, it did bleed a little bit. Like the ink was kind of fuzzing here and there, but I mean, it wasn't too crazy, I tried to go in and do these like little details just all along the edges at the top and the bottom, and I think that it just makes it just a little more interesting to look at. When I went in to color the whole thing, I kind of smeared it and lost a little bit of those details, so I had to go back in afterwards and just quickly scratch in, because at this point I'm like running out of memory on my phone, so I'm just like quickly scratching in just those details back in. They're not exact, they're not exact like the first round of stuff, but, and I say details, I mean like these were very just basic lines and shapes. There's no real cohesiveness to what's going on right now. There's no rhyme or reason to any of it. I just kind of did whatever I thought to do to fill in some space, just to give you guys something to look at, The best part about this entire process was filling in the wooden frame and the letters like Safa, and then the I wish I could say that my favorite part was drawing with the fountain pen, and while that was satisfying and fun, it would just be a total lie, because my favorite part was filling in the other stuff with my paintbrush. What I did was I took some ink, put it in a little cap, and I took my brush, and at first I was trying to water it down, where I put a lot of water in the brush, stick it in the ink a little bit, and then was trying to do that so I can make it really light, but it ended up being really watery and a little too light, and I was like, nah, forget that. And then I used a thinner brush for the little details and stuff. And I just dipped that stuff directly into the ink. No water, just directly into the ink. And it was, oh my gosh, so satisfying to paint with that. It went on so smoothly. It was so thick. Watching, like, it's like, oh my gosh, how do I even explain it? It's like, you know, you can see watercolor, right? You can see how it's kind of dark and kind of light and what have you. Okay, so it's like watercolor, but it's like way easier and way more satisfying to use than watercolor. I can't explain it. You would just have to do it. You just have to get it and use it, you know? And I guess what really makes me like it more than watercolor paint is I literally use those two mediums back to back. Sorry. I used the watercolor paint for the background, and then I used the ink to fill in these details, and just the ink, just using them back to back, I was like, whoa, I really, really like painting with ink. I didn't think I was going to enjoy painting with ink as much as I did, but I did. But yeah, you can see here, it's definitely picking up the ink that I'd already put down with the pen, and it's just, you know, drying into the back. It's just softening it all up. So I did have to go in and redraw some of that. But man, this was like so fun. This whole part right here was so fun. I loved it. Also, I really hope that it translates well, like the whole drawing. Like, I hope it looks like a paper lantern thing, and that the words and the stars and the astronaut look like the wooden parts, you know, that go over the paper part, you know what I mean? Like, I hope that all translated well, you know. And I tried to make them attached to the edges of the frame of the lantern so that they weren't just free floating, you know. And then knowing that, and I tried to think, oh, I'm going to do that little detail. But then at the very end, it seemed like there was too much yellow space. So I went in back with my fountain pen, and I just added more little lines and doodles in there, which fills up the space more, makes it more just fun to look at, but at the same time it doesn't make any stinking sense, like. So it is what it is. Overall though, I mean, I'm proud of it. I'm proud of how it turned out. I had so much fun. Like, you guys, if you're super into art and you've never bought ink before, go buy some ink because it's so cool. I'm glad I picked purple. Like, one, purple's a pretty color anyways, but this thing ended up looking so rich, even faded. Even like the faded bits look fine, but the dark bits were my favorite part. Oh my gosh, and then like look at the bottom where like the dark is fading into the light. That just looks so cool. Like, I can't with it. Oh, and then washing your brushes out after using ink, because like you can't really wash acrylic down your sink because it's like a latex paint or something. Well, when it dries, it turns rubbery, you know, and that stuff will clog your sink all up, you know. So I usually end up like waiting for it to dry on the plate I've used, and then like picking it off and throwing it in the trash, you know, once I've got a pile of it. Or if it's still wet, I'll use a paper towel to wipe it off the plate, and then I'll use soap and water to get just the very little bits that's left. But ink ain't even like that, man. Like, boom, went in there with my sink, a little bit of soap and water, washed this stuff right off my brush. It went right down. Like, it's so thin. It was like, I don't know. I just feel like, what have I been doing with my life this whole time leading up to now? I should have been painting with ink all along. I almost don't ever want to buy acrylic paint again. But then I think, you know, I've got so many projects like painting my flower pots, you know, that I like to do. Little art paint projects, painting my cornhole boards, you know, just things like that, where I'm like, well, acrylic paint is obviously necessary. But painting on watercolor paper or any other paper, like, I can incorporate ink more into my life easily. Oh yeah, here's that little bit I was telling you about where I just kind of went in and did some little thin lines. I just think it looks cool, you know? It doesn't look as plain and bare, you know? I don't know if it even makes sense, but it just looks cool. Anyways, makes sense or not. So I think the whole thing turned out all right. Safa, if you're watching, down in the comments, just leave your email address. I will scan this and I'll email it to you, okay? Also, I just want to thank you and everyone else for subscribing to my channel, for watching my videos. I so appreciate you guys like stopping by to say hi. I know I say it in every video, but I'm gonna always say it in every video because I love y'all. Y'all are really nice, you know, and appreciate ya. Look at that, I got a little slow-mo going down the whole thing. So yeah, leave your email, I'll send it to you, and I hope you guys have a great weekend. Y'all have fun. Love you guys. Bye.